This is just plain comical. Watch this sheriff try to make this marijuana growing house out to be a big threat to his men. If it's such a threat, why don't we just legalize it?
Thanks, Tom. Ramsey County deputies make one of their biggest drug busts in history when they find hundreds of marijuana plants. They were taken from an upscale home in White Bear Lake on the 3400 block of Michael Avenue. Maury Glover joins us now with more on what led investigators to that house.
Well, investigators say the house had been empty until 3 months ago when it became home to a major drug operation unlike anything they've ever seen. This is the type of neighborhood where people move to get away from the problems of life in the city. But just because you live in the suburbs doesn't mean the drug dealers aren't living right next door.
That's scary because I have 2 kids.
Investigators found what they say was a sophisticated pot growing operation in this home Monday morning. Not only did police find more than 1,000 marijuana plants in the basement, there were enough grow lamps the size of satellite dishes to fill the back of a flatbed truck.
It's pretty unusual that we're not running across these kinds of grow operations every day.
Investigators say the home was a marijuana hothouse, with temperatures reaching 90 degrees or higher inside to help the plants grow. That posed dangers both from mold and from the electrical system that had been jerry-rigged to bypass the meters so Xcel Energy wouldn't notice the massive amounts of electricity being used.
The first thing I noticed when I was in there was just the concern about the electrical shock that potentially could happen there with all the electrical cords, transformers, and lighting there, along with a high level of humidity made for a concern, certainly a safety concern regarding our investigators being in there.
Investigators say the suspect was so aware of the red flags that signal a drug house, he had a copy of a recent newspaper article about how to tell if you're living next to a pot palace sitting on his kitchen table.
I thought it was pretty much an empty house.
Like many of her neighbors, Chris Anderson didn't notice anything unusual about the house down the street. Now she hopes the bust doesn't mean her neighborhood is suddenly going downhill. Now, officers arrested a man in his mid-20s who they believe lived at the house, and more arrests could be on the way. They also took an infant they found at the house to Children's Hospital to see if the baby had any medical problems from being in that environment. Maury Glover, Fox 9 News.
All right.